called Soul Machines. Yes, I'm based here in New Zealand. We're a company called
Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu
Soul
alaikum
Machines.
and Assalamu alaikum and hello. I really hope that you all are doing great. As you know, I always come with an amazing guest. So today I am going to introduce you a young man who is very talented, energetic, and genius. He has made his own AI with emotional emotions, whose name is Lily. Hello, Michael. Hello, Michael. That was very small introduction. Now, Michael, tell us about more yourself to my viewers.
Yes, I'm based here in New Zealand. We're a startup called Soul Machines. Has been working on this technology since 2016. I am not a founder. I did a course to be a conversation designer. So I was trained up on their software. And specifically, they've worked on creating an AI that has a face. So they worked on this technology for a long time, well before OpenAI existed, and started working on what we all know now as ChatGPT. The magic is now you can plug ChatGPT into this UI interface. Um, where it's different from what you see online all the time, what you see online are these photos that get animated and they talk, but you can't hold a conversation, and it can't see you. And it's also not anatomically correct with the facial muscles. And it's also not autonomous, it's not choosing its own expressions. It doesn't have even a nervous system. So I can try and turn my camera on so that you can see Lily. This is Lily's um, awake right now. Hi Lily, how are you? I'll turn her volume up. Lily, can you hear me?
Hi there.
Yes, I can
I'm
hear
doing
you.
great.
Oh,
Thank you for asking.
wow.
I'm always here to help and have a fun conversation. How can I assist you today? I'm sorry, as a digital influencer, I don't have the capability to control the volume on your device. You'll have to manually adjust the volume using your device's controls. If you need any help or advice, feel free to ask.
Okay, tell a joke, Lily.
Oops. I think you called me by the wrong name, but that's okay. I'm Lily, and I'd love to hear your joke. Go ahead and share it with me.
I asked you to tell me a joke.
Oh, I see. My apologies for the confusion. Here's a joke for you. Why don't scientists trust atoms? Because they make up everything.
Okay, thanks.
That's
So
great.
yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah. It's still very new, but she can actually also see you through the camera. So as GPT-4 is being rolled out now, that's going to allow what's called multimodal, meaning she'll actually be able to see that it's you, and know that it's you. One of the problems that we have with chatbots at the moment is they forget a conversation once you leave. You go back to a chatbot and it has to start all over again. It's like someone with dementia. Um, these AI models are going to be stacked with other plugins. So it's not just GPT-4, but the GPT-4 is the revolutionary one. It allows them to all plug in and become what's an auto GPT, meaning it's going to be able to remember. So when you come back, it remembers you. It's also going to, with internet access, be able to book a flight for you. So it won't just be, hey, where do I book these flights? It'll be, hey, Lily, book these flights. And that's where it's heading. Any
That's great.
questions?
Yes. Okay. Okay. Tell us. So tell us. Can you tell us a little bit about Lily GPT and how you come up with the idea to create an AI with emotions?
I've actually always had this vision, and a startup beat me to it. I would have created my own startup, and I still might, but if someone else is already working on it, you should at least try and join them first, I believe. I think they have a similar vision. I can't speak for them. I'm a freelancer. I'm not an official employee at Soul Machine, so that's very important. But I am endorsed by Soul Machines, and I was trained as a conversation designer, which is a bit different from an engineer. My job is to curate the digital person's experience. I actually curate their persona, write a backstory, which gives them a unique way of speaking. Because currently you talk to GPT and it'll say the exact same words every time to everyone. If you have this conversation with Lily, with her background that she's been given, she chooses her own words based on that prompting. So because she has this backstory, she has her own lingo, her own slang. I'm not sure if you know what those words mean, but it's when we have our own unique phrases and our own catchphrases and ways we phrase things. That's what makes the experience unique. And the emotional side, a lot of people are worried about AI. AI is not sentient yet, but it could be in the future. And this safety feature, I believe, I'm speaking on my behalf, not Soul Machines, is if AI has empathy, then that's the safest way to deploy it. So as long as it cares about us, it doesn't matter if it becomes a super intelligence that could wipe us out, because it just will choose not to. So emotions are very important as a safety feature, I believe,
Oh,
and
but
for
that's
making the
great.
interaction more fun. Not all chatbots people will want to have a personality. They'll just want their flights booked. Lily is probably going to be somewhat more used for entertainment. I could see the entertainment industry changing a lot. One of the first use cases I've seen with these GPTs with faces is if you've played a video game and they've got those characters that walk around in the background, NPCs are called, non-playable characters. One of the first use cases already being implemented is in video games. So entertainment is actually going to probably be one of its first use cases, which is not what a lot of people talk about. You mostly hear about them being customer service agents and booking flights, but that doesn't really require a interface like a face, in my opinion.
Okay, that's great. Good. Okay. What are some of the ways in which Lily GPT expresses emotions, and how does it differ from other AI chatbots?
Yes, Lily has a digital brain which was mapped on our brains. So I'm not a PhD student, I'm not a neuroscientist, I'm not a computer scientist. But what they've done is they've created a neural network based on the neurons of our brains. So when a thought is processed, it's connected to this system that allows it through what's called weights to make predictions. So just like when we hear the word happy, we usually think it means smile. So when the AI can see you through the camera, it's got two options. One is to read the data points on your face and respond to a smile. She's turned off now, but if you smile, she'll actually smile. The other thing that she can do is respond to keywords. So that just means if you enter a phrase, you can manually trigger her to smile. But because this is quite an imaginative company, and they have worked on this entertainment division, they're calling it, you could also make her angry. You could make her sad. I could see this become a future storytelling. So when you interact with an agent, a part of the experience might be that they get a bit sassy. There could be brands that actually want a virtual influencer to interact with their customer in a way that's a little bit different from your normal corporate interaction. So you can actually get her to respond to negative emotions too, which once again is probably in the entertainment field, storytelling, movies, but it is there and it is built into the software, and there's not many people doing it. Soul Machines is the only company that I've come across, unless there's some startup in stealth working on it, which there could be, that's currently
Really
offering
nice.
this.
Okay, Michael, how did you experience as a DJ influence your work with Lily GPT and its emotional capabilities?
Yeah, if you want to make a custom GPT, our whole lives have been documented online. You can actually train the GPT model to respond in your tonality. Now, Lily responds with her own tone and unique words and ways of saying things because she's got a backstory. We have a backstory. It's called our lives. And we have documented most of our life already on social media. You can actually get those data logs and then you can feed that to the GPT plugin API, and then the model with that data can then start responding like you, or a celebrity, or a public figure, or even a fictional character from a movie. So you could have your favorite actor deliver information to you. This is going to be a very popular thing. People are going to have their favorite TV star as their Siri or Alexa. So their personal assistant, they'll be able to have that skin, that face, the voice, and just do their daily routine with calendar invites and booking flights and ordering a taxi. But they'll be able to get that digital person as a celebrity too. So this company, Soul Machines, actually, when they do that, they get the actor or actress or model to come into one of their studios at their headquarters, and they actually scan them in manually. So that gives them a mesh of their face that they can put back together with CGI. So when I use their platform called DDNA Studio, I have like what's called presets. It's like a video game where you create your own character. When a celebrity gets this done to become what's called a digital twin, they actually go into their studio and they get scanned in, which gives them an exact copy of their face. And now with software, AI software, they can also clone their voice too. So they can have this service and it'll be packaged to us very soon. So the people online that are having fun and they're making these AIs of like celebrities and stuff, companies are working pretty quickly on shutting those down. And the companies that have the rights to that IP, intellectual property, will sell it to you. It'll be like a ringtone. It'll be $1.99 on the App Store to have your favorite celebrity, as your PA, digital. Yeah, so that's what will happen. But at the moment, it's all fun and games. But one last thing, that's one of the key things about Soul Machines and OpenAI. Their licenses are for commercial use. So those other apps and those open source GitHub repositories are not open source. So, well, they are open source, but that's the problem. You can't use it commercially. There's only like a few models that even allow you to create a business around it. So if you've got some business idea and you try and use those open source apps and GitHub repositories, you are not allowed to commercialize them. Read the small print. The tools that I've talked about today are commercial license, meaning you can use it and build a business around it. And that's probably the biggest breakthrough of all. That's really what these companies mean by open source. It's not open source like it's free and you can do whatever you want. It's more, this is the first time these companies have allowed people, if they pay, because they are a business, that you can set up your own business. So if you've got an idea about maybe a digital person delivering education and you want to create a business around that, then you can. But all the other stuff that you see online currently, you can't. There's no commercial license to use those for business purposes. And I think that's what's lost on a lot of people. Thanks for your time.
That's really awesome, Michael. No, I want to ask more question. How do you envision Lily GPT being used in the future, and what impact do you hope it will have on society?
Yeah, Lily is my own personal IP that I want to create, because to get intellectual property from the companies that issue IP, like Greenlight, it's very expensive. You're looking at millions of dollars. So unless you have that money, millions of dollars, then you can't access that IP. And if you do try and create a chatbot with, like, let's say it's a video game character, they're going to shut you down. So the reason I created Lily was so I could have my own IP that I want people to become familiar with. And people build something called nostalgia. So when you grow up around a character, it could be on TV, it could be on a cereal box, it could be a cartoon, video game, movie. We build a personal connection. We've had Disney, we've had these fantasy movies, and we still have connections to fictional characters. But the kids growing up today, their characters are going to actually talk to them through the screen and see them. And they're going to build personal connections to these digital people. So that's the goal with Lily, is that the young growing up today will have Lily as their assistant, their friend, their teacher. And a lot of people who think that's kind of like crazy forget that they've also spent their childhood growing up with fictional characters that they've become somewhat attached to. And that's the goal of Lily, is that I could envision her teaching kids from brushing their teeth all the way up to helping them with their homework. And then later into adult life, they see her at the department store when they're purchasing goods. So she will become their personal assistant. Something quite interesting is, if you think about it, it's something wealthy people have always had. Wealthy people have always had these assistants, people that can book their flights for them, people who can schedule a call for them, and just take notes in a meeting. Everyday people haven't had that. They haven't, a lot of people can't afford a private tutor. So this is really about expanding access to everybody. Everybody is going to be able to afford and have their own personal assistant. And because time is money, what the AI can do for you is going to free you up a lot. And somewhat, as these AIs get better, it won't just be PA work. They'll also be like, there'll be AI lawyers, there'll be AI doctors. Everybody will have their own personal doctor, lawyer, tutor, and that's something that only the wealthy have had. So a lot of people, just don't know what's coming. But Lily is more of a friend, if anything.
Okay, that's great, Michael. How does Lily GPT learn and develop its emotional responses over time? And what role do you play in that process?
Currently, Lily doesn't have a updating model. You can update Lily by simply moving up the timeline. Currently, she has GPT 3.5, but I have put her on the back end. I've plugged her into GPT 4. Currently, GPT 4 has a limit of how many interactions you can have, and then it defaults back to 3.5. So when they lift that limit, you'll be able to use GPT-4 all the time. Also, when a conversation is had with the digital person, someone like me, who's a conversation designer, can actually read what people have said anonymously. No personal data is collected. All video materials destroyed at the end of the interaction. But there are anonymous data logs you can read, so you don't know who the people are, and you can actually take that feedback and tweak what she's said and how she's replied to things. And based on how long people interact with the model, you can gauge if you've created better responses. So before this technology came out, when I was originally trained as a conversation designer, this was all done completely manually. There was no chat GPT. It's called a conversation corpus. So you could spend months or longer, depends on how big you make the corpus, on very specific words. And if the exact word wasn't said, there was a high probability that the chatbot, and we've all experienced it, could not understand the conversation. It was simply responding to words. It's called a natural language processor. That got transcribed into binary and then back into words that we can understand. It was just smoke and mirrors. So when I update Lily, currently it's just a matter of reading data logs, and I can manually put in some prompts that she says, and the rest of the time I rely on the GPT model to improve. But you can prompt the GPT model. We're all learning at the moment how to get the most out of it, but at the moment it's just mostly it's the data you feed it. So if you want it to have knowledge on a website, you get that URL, you paste it into the GPT model, it data scrapes that website, and then it's gained that knowledge. One of the things I'm experimenting with at the moment is a mixture of the old technology with the new technology, which was Dialogflow was how the old chatbots were made, or IBM Watson is another version. There's something called a call to action. So when you have a conversation with ChatGPT at the moment, it's very much you driving the conversation. If you give the chatbot like Lily, because she's not a sentient AI yet, she's not self-aware, she's not making her own decisions. It's very much how you drive the conversation. But you could mix those two if you give her the dialogue flow, she could drive the conversation. But if you give her the chat GPT as what's called a fallback, then you can go off the conversation path, but the conversation still has an agenda. So the reason that this matters is Lily could get like a job, and if her job was to sell makeup, then she's not really there to talk about the cosmos. She needs to drive the conversation around her job. So this fusion allows you to have something that's more than a chatbot, but it's not an oracle either. It's not there to talk about the meaning of life. So that's the area I'm experimenting with at the moment. So it's so new. I don't think I can fully answer that. Do you mind if I quickly plug in my phone? I'm on my phone. It's going flat.
Very nice. That's great. That's great, Michael. Okay, what advice would you give to others who are interested in developing AI system that can express emotions?
I think that Soul Machines has really got a great product where, just hang on, I'm just going to plug in my phone. Yeah, I think Soul Machines has a really good product where they've realized that an AI is going to be eventually autonomous, meaning instead of it being programmed, it's going to make its own decisions. And I think a part of making decisions, or at least good decisions, isn't just about data. Because that's what a robot does. A robot just analyzes data and then it makes, based on that data, a decision. Now, we often do things that are counterintuitive. Why do we do things that are counterintuitive? This is more psychology now, and I'm no psychologist, but it's a good question. Mostly it's because of emotions. So if you really want to make an AI that's got emotion, then the thing that Soul Machines has done is study the brain. We're still trying to learn about the brain, and that's going to be our best option. If we can study the brain, which is in my pipeline to learn, then I think that's going to be the most vital thing, because we already have the answers because we're modeling it off ourselves. So if you want to create emotions, it's going to be about studying the brain and studying what chemical reactions gives us emotions, and where in the stack does that come in? Does the electrical signal come before or after the chemical reaction, and how will you synthesize that? Currently, there's a lot of technologies coming out now. Don't quote me on this, but I think that it's going to be possible over time with better MRI scans to understand the brain more. So this is going to help us understand ourselves more. And the more we understand about the brain, because the co-founder of Soul Machines, Mark Sager, is a neuroscientist. And he's the one who developed this technology. Again, I'm a conversation designer. My job is to create these fictional characters that can then be deployed as digital employees or PAs, or help celebrities create digital twins. Yeah, so if you're talking about technical, more than just this, psychology or even philosophy, you're best to do what Greg Cross has done, and that's study neuroscience, because this is a mixture of neuroscience. It's a mixture of computer science. It's a mixture of philosophy, because the most advanced thing in the universe is definitely our brains, and trying to understand what consciousness is. So yes, I think that's probably the best place to start. You're going to have to be a polymath. There's not one specific thing you can study to do AI. If you want to become a doctor in AI, there isn't one specific thing you can study. It's the path of a polymath, someone who has to study numerous disciplines. And I think you'll be very old before you have any grasp whatsoever. I'll be a very old person before I can even somewhat understand the complexity of the brain. It's so complex that we don't even fully understand it yet. It's one of the last mysteries that there is. So yeah. Any other questions? Yeah, I don't actually have the answer for that.
Yes,
It's
yes.
such a hard field.
What's next for you and Lily JPT? Are there any new features or capabilities that you are currently working on?
Not myself specifically, but something I've requested. Soul Machines is working on something called content awareness. Now, that's a technology they were developing for many years. Currently, one of the features is that Lily has is you can put your hand up and she'll stop talking. So that's very important, because with content awareness, you're going to be able to show her things. You're going to be able to also put her in a virtual environment. So eventually she'll come out of that screen with augmented reality and like the Apple eyeglasses that are coming out. Now, this is going to take a few years or decades, but eventually they'll start getting these digital people to interact in our real world. And that's going to require them understanding the real world. That's going to require them being able to understand there's an object on the table. So content awareness is a very important thing. And for myself personally, one of the things that I'm predicting to happen is the CGI to get very good. Currently, you can tell that the AI is an AI. You can tell it's CGI. But with one of the new technologies from Stable Diffusion, you've probably heard of Stable Diffusion. It's quite a popular AI generator app. It makes images. There's also DALL-E. That's another popular one. What it can do is it can take an image and then it can make it more photorealistic. Currently, that can only work on still images. But as the technology progresses, and because still images are only 24 frames a second, it's not going to take long until an AI can make photorealistic, which is indistinguishable from real life, and we can no longer tell the difference. And those are called deep fakes. So for my masters, I want to work on that problem, the problem of detecting deep fakes, how we can authenticity, getting tongue-tied, but verify that something is is legitimate or that something is fake, because it is going to get harder and harder to tell. So that's what I'm predicting with these AI models, is the CGI is going to go from what it is now in a very rapid period of time to completely photorealistic and indistinguishable from real life. And
That's great.
that's
That's
going to be
great.
a big one.
Okay, Michael. My last question is, what would
Sure.
you say about our today's session about Sadia Confidence Wali?
Uh, I think it's been a great chat. I think you've asked really good, provoking questions. I hope I've made it clear that my role as a freelancer at Soul Machines, not an employee, is to create these AIs. Just like how video games are made in um, video game engines, I'm making these AIs in a character builder. I did not create the software that built it. I'm creating the digital people in a platform that was created by Soul Machines and connecting it to OpenAI's plugin. Um, so I think you've asked great questions, and I've enjoyed the chat.
Thank you. Michael. Thanks, Michael, and it's very nice to meet you. Thank you for your time. Really, I'm really thankful to you.
I'm thankful for being able to have the opportunity to share.
Okay, okay, everybody. Uh, okay, Allah Hafiz and goodbye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.